All right, we're going to learn about a thing called dichotomous keys. That's something that you guys are going to use over the next few days, and so you need to know what it is and why we use it. So a dichotomous key is a tool that scientists can use to identify an unknown organism or specimen. That word, dichotomous, you break it down, it's a Latin word. Di meaning two, kato meaning to split or to divide. So it has to do with two-part statements, and you'll see that in a little bit. Examples of things you would use a dichotomous key for in science, maybe identifying insects. Right? There's a lot of different kinds of insects and a lot of different orders of insects. It's tough sometimes to identify those guys. Trees, same thing. The science of botany, which is a science of studying plants, relies a lot on dichotomous keys. It doesn't have to be something living. It could be something like shells, and maybe somebody's a collector of these things, or even rocks. A geologist, a geology student who's not as familiar as somebody who's been in the field for a long time might need a dichotomous key to figure out which rocks they're looking at. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a living thing. All right, so characteristics here. The word dichotomous, like I said before, means divided into two parts. Consists of a series of two-part statements. You're going to see that when I give you some examples. And these statements describe the characteristics of the specimen. So let's look at an example. All right, I gave you one with emojis. So you see a series of two-part statements. You got a 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B. They're not all this short. Sometimes they go pretty long, actually. But it's almost like a scavenger hunt if you look at it from that perspective. And so the first thing is that you notice is that you are presented with two choices, right? So 1A and 1B. So you always want to start at the beginning. And 1A in this case says the emoji has both eyes open. And I see 3 out of those 4 that have both eyes open. And it says go to 2. That doesn't mean the second specimen here. That means go to statement 2 right here. Right? The emoji has both eyes closed. I see 1 has its eyes closed. So this says go to 3. That means go to 3. You're jumping down to 3 next. So that's how it's kind of like a scavenger hunt, where you're going to the next set of clues, and it's basically clues so that you can find out exactly what you're looking at. So there's a pair of statements. There's a pair of statements. As the user makes a choice, you're led to the new branch of the key. Right? So the emoji has both eyes open. You go to 2. 2 says the emoji has a hand. That's 2A. 2B says the emoji does not have any hands. So if it has a hand, you would go to 4, right? If it does not have any hands, you would go to 5. So it's leading you to a new branch of the key. And in the end, the user is led to the name of the specimen. Right? So that's the ultimate goal here, is to identify what you're looking at. It's not about classifying, it's about identifying. So if the emoji has a hand, it says go to 4, and then you're given 2 choices as to what they are. The emoji is smiling, 4A, or the emoji is not smiling, 4B. So then you know exactly 2 of those already. Right? Okay, and the other thing, if you notice, what they're giving you here is some scientific names with the genus and species. You see Smilius, they're all Smilius, and then they have different species names. Those are just made up, just to be funny about the scientific name thing. But if it was something, maybe like insects or plants or whatever, you might have an actual scientific name that you're dealing with there, and it's usually 2 words. The first one's the genus, the second one's the species. But anyway, those are just made up ones. So let's start at the beginning here. So 1A says the emoji has both eyes open. Go to 2. The second one says, or 1B says, the emoji has both eyes closed. And since that first guy here has his eyes closed, we'll go to there. So it says go to 3. The emoji has teeth, and I do see some teeth, or the emoji does not have teeth. So this one is Smilius ridens. I'm not sure what that means, but there we've already identified one. Okay, so then we go to back up to 1A. The emoji has both eyes open, and I see that with the next 3. So let's handle this one first. So we go to 2. The emoji has a hand, and I see it has a hand. So we go to 4. 4A says the emoji is smiling, and I do see that one is smiling. So Smilius rhizome. All right. Now we're going to back up to 1A again. Emoji has both eyes open. I see them right here. So we go to 2. The emoji has a hand. It does have a hand. So we're going to go to 4. The emoji is smiling. We already used that one. There's no repeats here. So the next one says the emoji is not smiling. And that one is not smiling. And that one kind of makes a little sense. Smilius confusa. And it does kind of look like he's confused about something. So confusa, that makes sense. And then we'll go back up again. 1A says the emoji has both eyes open, and it does. We go to 2. The emoji has a hand. That one doesn't. So 2B says the emoji does not have any hands. We go to 5. The emoji is injured on 5A, and yes, it does look like it's injured with that bandage around its head. So Smilius malum is that last one. That's how you work these out, guys. You've got some examples to work on. I've got some for you to practice on. All right. Here's one with insects. And 1A and 1B, you know, when these, you start off with kind of broad categories, and then it goes more specific until you find what they are. And the big broad category in this case is antenna or no antenna. So 1A says that the insect has 2 visible antennae. If it does, you go to 2. The insect has no visible antenna. If it doesn't, then you go to 3. Right? So 3 out of those 4 I see have visible antenna. The other one doesn't. You're going from there. 2A and 2B, they're upward folded legs on the thorax or sideways folded legs on the thorax. You know, that's fairly apparent, right? These are upward folding here. These are upward folding, right? Thorax, if you're not aware of what that is, that's the midsection of the insect, right? That's the body of the insect, is the thorax. Right, the next one is, actually the next few of them are test questions, either from former STAR tests or from former benchmarks. So I thought we'd give you practice on these. This one has to do with identifying that insect down there. And its wings and things like that have a lot to do with it. This one's from a STAR practice question. This was a STAR test question, again with an insect, a beetle. And you're looking to classify which type of beetle it is, right? Or which type of order of insects it is. Actually, it is a beetle. But anyway, this one, you're trying to identify that specific shark. So you see genus and species on here. The first name, the genus, is always capitalized. Species is always lowercase. So there's one, there's 2 here, 2 there. So you're looking for that species of what looks like a shark, right? Here's another shark one. And this one, you're just looking for what kind of animal it is. I think that's fairly straightforward. See, these were all test questions. So when you see a dichotomous key on a test, it's not going to be that difficult. Here's one with plants. The only thing I can tell you is it starts off with a broad category of simple leaf or compound leaf. Just know that a simple leaf is a single leaf. No matter what the shape is, if it's just one leaf, then it's called a compound leaf, or a simple leaf. If it's leaflets on a stem, then it's a compound leaf. So just keep that in mind. And then this final one is about fish, and this one actually was on the last Science STAR test for 8th grade. This was on the 2019 test, so fairly up to date when they're giving dichotomous keys on there. And you're just dragging that check mark over to whatever fish you think is the bluegill after you go through the key. All right, guys, practice these. Make sure you do your best, because you're going to get some that are assignments next.